and welcome to Shame to Shine. I am Steph. I'm so excited to be here today with Markeea Hart. She is the owner and founder of Girls Running Shit, a fabulous organization that does just what it says. And we are going to jump in today to Markea's story of shame to shine. So we know that many women go through multiple rounds of having to deal with stories of shame externally or internally and transform those so that we can get our energy back. So Markeea, talk us through the story that you're going to focus on today for this interview.
My main story, my shame story is pretty much how I was pouring in to so many other people and their stories, their challenges, their consequences, and not my own.
Yeah.
And, I found myself being in a place of depression from that. I gained, especially through COVID, we had to seek community and seek a village within COVID because I mean, a lot of us were alone.
Yeah.
And we're also taught as Black women, we're here to uplift, but they never teach us how to recover from that, how to uplift ourselves and how to pour into ourselves. It's like our main job. And even as women in general, we are taught from birth how to pour into others. That is our job, is to nurture, but we're not taught how to nurture ourselves. So my main thing for my shame story is how I recovered from that. And I think, I mean, I love that I am selfless. I'm empathetic and things of that sort. But it's kind of draining because we as women, we have our 9 to 5s depending on what you do. Then on top of that, being a woman, it comes with a lot of mental health factors and things of that sort. And also too, I mean, whether you have a partner, whether you have, there's all different things. And then on top of that, trying to balance, staying healthy. And I spoke on a panel last year through the Beauty Boost, and they were just like, how did you get on your journey? I literally fell to the bottom when it came to my mental health, and not just like my myself, like not my body weight and everything like that. That wasn't a low for me because I've been bigger my whole entire life. Like that just runs in my blood, it runs in my lineage and everything. But it did take a toll on my mental health, and that's why I went on a weight loss journey to get all of that trauma off of me. It's like, when you get done with the breakup, you
Yep.
either dye your hair red or you cut your hair. And with me, I was like, I have to get this weight off of me. And I've seen so many women in my family, and even with my peers too, how they pour so much into other people. And not saying I do things to, receive anything back, but I just feel like it's a sort of a form of self harm if you don't pour back into yourself. So I was just like, I'm going to get on this journey of one, getting my mental health better because you pour so much into other people. And then when you have something that's like coming around, hold on, my computer is dying. I don't know why that is. And the stuff is plugged in. Sorry about that.
No problem.
But I just saw that with the women in my family, and I'm like, this can't be me. I can't do all this work and have no one pouring into my cup. And granted, I have an amazing village, but we weren't taught how to ask for help. It was like a sign of weakness. So during COVID, I was in a relationship, and you're happy and you're pouring into your friends, communities. And then I was like, I wasn't receiving that because one, I didn't know how to ask for help because I'm just like, I'm a strong Black woman. Like, I don't need any help when
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be financial. It could just be somebody asking if you're okay, have you ate today? And I had everything I wanted. My business was still thriving through COVID, even though we couldn't have in-person, events and everything. But through that, I connected with weight loss and weight loss. I mean, having a journey of wellness also connects with your mental health. It's not just about losing the pounds and everything like that. It was to get my head on straight. And then as I'm going through this journey, I'm going through a breakup. I had in the beginning of COVID, I'm in this healthy relationship. And then time by, I started to really focus on myself. I'm like, actually, it wasn't as healthy as I thought
Yeah.
it was. And not even just because of that person, I wasn't doing right by myself. So if I'm not doing right by myself, I can't pour in and help other people, or help or survive a relationship, you know what I mean? So also there was other factors. My father, he died of a massive heart attack in 2011. So, and I know the stresses that he had too. My dad, literally the most empathetic, selfless person I've ever met in my life. And he poured into people. And then, when you don't pour into yourself, there's consequences. So I changed my lifestyle up. And first I tackled my mental health, found a therapist, started doing things that I wanted to do instead of just going with what the crowd, the general public is doing. And then I was like, you know what? I really have to hone in on my weight as well because that is a hindrance in the Black community, especially for Black women. Like, it's not promoted to move our bodies and things like that. And because of, certain systematic things, we don't have the privilege or the accessibility to certain wellness care. So I thank God I had a certain privilege and a certain background to change my lifestyle. And granted, a lot of people might say it was a shortcut. I say that it was a thing that um how can you say instead of a shortcut? I think it was a path that was chosen by God, and I decided to get surgery. I got VSG surgery in 2022, and it was the best decision of my life. A lot of people are like, "Well, you didn't earn it," and I feel like I did earn that because, again, being a woman, I have a 9 to 5, going to the gym, balancing my mental health, and I was like, "This will help me." So, was it a head start? Yes, but it was a great head start for me to be able to get into a world where I didn't have the mental capacity at that point in time. So by that really helped me to put myself first. And now I've been able to broaden my business instead of it just being a podcast. I'm able to put in wellness. I'm able to provide certain services for women that look like me, feel like me, have gone through the same things as me. They can pour into that and also maybe find their purpose to start pouring back into themselves. So that's another thing with GRS and, my wellness journey. They kind of coincide together because they have helped me to realize, like, you can still pour into others, but like, how can you be happy for people, contribute to people's lives and you're not even doing it yourself? So I'm leading by example, but I'm also giving a horrible example by being like, you pour, pour, pour into people, then you put yourself on the back burner. No, I'm putting myself first. And then I'm able and more capable of having more people join me in the front of my line and everything. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. And there are a couple things that I think are so relatable where one, the story around I shouldn't need help because I should be a strong woman. And especially if you identify as a Black woman, then like the strong Black woman is kind of an identity that
hmm
I've heard is like really forced on you. So there's shame around that not being true. And then when you're so empathic already, there is a cultural message that we should serve each other more. And that has, in a number of books I've read about that are geared towards sensitive and empathic people, they're like, that is true for people that aren't empathic. But for people who already have that dial turned up, it can almost exacerbate this need to feel like, well, I've only given enough if I'm totally drained. So then there's shame around even putting yourself first because it's like, well, I don't deserve that and it's selfish and other people don't have and I should give. And so like there's so much tied up in these stories put on you. And I'm wondering, how did you initially reconcile like those can't be true because you can't keep pouring into other people, but like how did you initially reconcile and get through that hump of getting rid of those stories?
I started feeling bitter, and I'm not a bitter person. I'm
Mhm.
very happy with, even with my friends. I've learned how to choose myself through my friends,
Yeah.
especially my adult friends. Not saying my childhood friends. Everybody teaches you different lessons in different eras, but this era of women that I've been surrounding myself with, especially here in Pittsburgh, they've taught me how to choose myself, right? But then still, we all have separate businesses. My friend does hair. My one friend does marketing. One of my friends is an R&B singer, and you're pouring and you're pouring. Then finally, I'm like, okay, I'm no longer happy because I'm giving all that energy away. And not saying that they pulled that energy out of me. I'm telling them what I can handle. And then, physically, your body's like, girl, no, you can't handle that. Like, speak up for yourself and everything. And they taught me to choose myself. So once I started being like, I'm not happy for that person, and that's not me at all. The moment that I feel unhappy, I'm pulling out. Just like if I'm unhappy at a job, I'm quitting. If I'm unhappy in a relationship, I'm leaving. And how do you tell that to yourself? So my back was kind of against the wall because I'm like, well, no, they're not gonna want to pour into me if I don't pour into them. I would have this paranoia. And I feel like that paranoia really got to me and I was just so mad. And I'm like, why am I so mad? Because you're draining yourself. It's
Mhm.
like if you don't eat, you get hangry. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I stopped pouring into myself, my self-care and stuff like that. I stopped doing things for myself, trying to appease other people when they weren't even asking of all of that. You're going above and beyond, girl, and you don't need to. So finally, I had that moment where I was just like mad. All these people are achieving certain things, and like I would forget to do certain things for my own happiness. And like, even with my business and things of that sort, that makes me happy. GRS genuinely is like my little baby and pouring into my community. We had a very long conversation about this at the
Yeah.
wellness workshop where I tell you, like, it makes me happy
Mhm.
forming a community and doing for the community. But if I'm not doing for myself, it's like, how can you do it for others? So I was just so unhappy. And I'm like, this is not me.
Yeah.
Like, I've been through a lot of different things in my short amount of time here on this earth, and I am a very happy-go-lucky person. So the moment I was like, I'm unhappy, and normally I'm happy for everybody else, and I'd start getting kind of like bitter
Mm.
when if my friends are winning, that means I'm winning because the blessing's in the neighborhood. So
Mm.
I've never been a hater when it comes to certain things. Even if I don't even know you, I'm applauding you from afar. So I started to feel like that. And I'm like, Kia, no, because once you start being negative, the universe is not going to bless you.
Mhm.
So I had to eliminate that quickly. And I'm like, what am I doing I was mentally drained. So I had to like step back from certain things. And COVID was like the perfect time for me to reassess myself because you can't go out, you can't do things like, everything's behind a computer screen or within homes. You have to get tested to go and do certain things. But I started to really like pour into myself, which made me even better when it comes into supporting
Yeah.
people. It gave me more energy because I'm giving energy to myself and I created boundaries for myself.
Yeah.
So once I created that boundary for myself, then I was able to move forward into helping myself because that was hindering me. You're being the all you can be friend, but then if you're not helping yourself, it just drained me. It really did. It made me so just ugly,
Yeah.
you know, for myself. Like my friends didn't realize it because I'm putting up this front, and as soon as I started focusing on my mental health and like my wellness, whether the outside or whether the inside, once I started doing that, I gained more energy in other areas. So I had that moment where I'm just like, oh, I'm bitter. Like, and it takes so much energy to even like be bitter. So I
Yeah.
had to just face myself. And I did. So once I did that, everything just became a little bit better because I set a boundary with myself. Everybody's so focused setting boundaries with everybody else, but it's healthy to set a boundary in rules and standards for yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Once you did that, did much change externally as well, or did any like fears come to pass that you were like, I don't want to rock the boat in this way and harm this relationship? Did any of those things happen?
A lot of confrontation did come my way, but I thrive off of confrontation. And if the conversation is uncomfortable, maybe the conversation needs to be had.
Hmm.
So once you start standing up for yourself, true colors of other people will come
Yep.
out. You know what I mean? Fake friends or people that were just there to benefit off of your empathy and your selflessness. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So once I started to stand up for myself, there's people that their true colors came out. So once you eliminate certain things, and I'm appreciative there's been a lot of people that come into my life. We had great friendships and, you know, great relationships. But once those dwindle, you start to realize I was just like, oh, I have so much more mental space,
Nice.
you know? And like I said, once you start standing up for yourself and you say no, no is such a powerful word. Some people don't like that. So some people are just like, I can't manipulate whether it's a platonic or a romantic relationship. It doesn't matter. They don't like that word. They don't like it when you stand up for yourself and you're not just pouring into them. So it eliminated certain people, certain energies from my life that I wasn't aware of because, again, I wasn't caring about my mental health. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like you're in a brief psychosis with yourself, you know,
Yeah.
that you're not here, you're just a robot, you're doing your same routine, that
Mhm.
you've been doing for like the last couple years in these friendships and relationships. And once I stood up for myself. And once I faced myself, yes, it brought a lot of confrontation, but it was good confrontation, like things that should have been settled a
Hmm.
while ago, or things I didn't see, or I was kind of like blind to
Hmm.
and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, it caused a lot of problems, but it does not matter. Like, I come first, or I can't achieve my duties as a daughter, a niece, a sister, I'm an aunt.
Hmm.
I can't function if I'm not defending myself. And also too, like I have my niece a lot and I want to show her, you can stand up and like say
Yeah.
no. I don't care if you're 7, tell them people no. So like I want to start leading with an example, even for my other family members. I got a grandma that's 87 years old. She still don't tell people no sometimes. I'm like, no, say no.
Hmm.
Like you don't have, we've been conditioned
Hmm.
to do these things. And once you start doing that, then you realize who should be in the same room as you. So people that understand it won't get offended. Well,
Yep.
people that have boundaries with themselves, and set a rule and a standard for themselves will get it and they won't get mad or angry or think you're trying to switch up. They're just like, I'm going to give her some time because I already know she's going to pour into my cup. I just have to be patient.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And friends are like, oh, I want you to be good and okay and
Hmm.
happy. So do what you got to do.
Hmm.
So for those who are like, oh my gosh, that is totally me. I am saying yes to all these things and I'm bitter about it and it's not what I want. And they're a little bit like, what what do I have to do? What are the things that I may anticipate going through to turn this around? You have like health, mental health, physical health, and relationships that you dealt with. Can you talk through for listeners who may be experiencing that, like any strategies and any other things that may come up to be ready for?
There's a lot of things. Anytime you make a change, whether it's superficial, mental, there's going to be a lot of people that hate that
Okay.
because they met you in an era where they could take advantage of you. So you got to be prepared to lose some things. It's the greatest sacrifice is to choose yourself.
Hmm.
And with that sacrifice, you're going to have to sacrifice some things. I'm a very personable person. I used to be a person that would be like, oh, everybody loves me. Like, I have to do everything to make sure that I keep this facade of like, it's impossible not to like me. And again, that can hinder you because
Yeah.
you're going to make mistakes. We're humans, whether you're religious, spiritual, or whatever. I believe that all is forgiven depending on what you're doing. So if you're choosing yourself, then and if you don't like it, oh well. And then also too, when you're making a great change, you have to be prepared of like how you treat yourself and to give yourself grace because I was beating myself up for years if I missed a friend's event, if I, didn't make this goal. And then I'm in corporate America too, as well. So I already have that added pressure when you go into boardrooms. And I've worked for these very big companies, like Fortune, 500 companies, where it's like if I miss a meeting, something might not go out and then it can ruin certain things. So I already had that added pressure. Give yourself grace,
Mm.
you know?
Mm.
So you're learning so much about yourself and you can be your biggest saboteur
Mhm.
too. So when you're going through a great change, just get prepared for yourself to test you. You're worried about other people switching up on you. You will switch up on yourself.
Yeah.
Like when I started this wellness thing, you go through like body dysmorphia, you go through like a change of looking at yourself differently because the world starts treating you differently
Hmm.
the moment I started to lose weight, people be like, "Oh, you look so great. You got that weight off you." But then they're not realizing like I work for a big tech company. I'm highly intelligent. I'm still pouring into my community, but then they hone in on that.
Mm.
So with any change, like I said, it doesn't even have to be with your weight. What if you even change your hair color, if you change like the way you carry yourself, your fashion, your style, they're going to hone in on that and they're not going to see the interior sometimes.
True.
Then also Be prepared for people that want to be like you. Okay, you got rid of all the old energies and old friends or old boyfriends and girlfriends and stuff like that. Get ready for this new energy that you're bringing, and people see that glow. It's a thing like, how do you say, like energy vampires, right? So they'll see like, oh my goodness, she's glowing, she's doing great. Then all of a sudden, all these people start coming out because they want you to teach them. And I can tell you how to do a new you and rebrand. Like I'm in marketing. I
Yeah.
can make a PR kit in a minute for you from scratch. But some people want the same je ne sais quoi that you have, and it's impossible. Nobody can beat Stephanie. Nobody can be Kia. You can't do what I do, but I can be, you know, I can help you in that way. I can like, I can even guide you. I can just show you that someone that looks like you or comes from the same area as you or the same background in business, whatever have you, and show you that it's possible, but you'll never be me. You know what I mean? You can't have that same energy and
Mhm.
whatnot. You have to develop your own energy. So you're going to see a lot of people that want to cut that corner of
Mhm.
how you got there and find out if there's some type of secret sauce and like, no, you got to put in the work,
That's right.
you know, and not just physically, mentally.
Mhm.
Everybody's mental capacity is different. But if you see me over here glowing and you're still a dark cloud, you can't come over here and the rain's still going to come. That thunderstorm is coming with you regardless.
Mhm.
So that's another thing you have to prepare for is people just like wanting that energy, wanting those same opportunities. Well, we come from the same place or, we hang around the same people. I have the same background as that. Why am I not happy? They're trying so hard to get that happiness from you. And you'll see it as friendship. You'll see it
Mhm.
as love, compassion, especially if you're a personable person. I love making new friends and stuff like that. But like my family, like my core people that I hang out with, nothing's breaking that. Like when like I said, I love making new friends, but you're not going to like get that full energy and
Mhm.
everything. So get prepared for people to just want to join the train because you're happy and they might not be in that part of their life yet. It takes time. You have to earn that. You have to work for your happiness. You do. So,
So those boundaries that you create initially are very needed as you
yes,
continue. Mhm.
yes.
So for the people who are like, I know you said it, but will you tell me again, who are still stuck in the like, is it really okay to put myself first? And you've said, once you put yourself first, you're so much more able to pour into your business and to pour into your friends because you have energy to draw from. But people can still get stuck in like not really believing that that's true. So if you could reinforce that or build on it in any way for people who are needing that extra nudge.
It's like, don't you get tired? You know, like, I'm sorry to like, it's like, don't you get tired? And again, it's like, I've been inspired by women, right? And just like I was talking about the question before, it's like you see other people's happiness, but I'm not the type of person that wants to go and get that same shine. But I want to know you're inspiring me to discover that within myself, you know? So after a while, you get done boo-hooing, you get done spending your last nickel and dime on whatever situation
Mhm.
it is. It doesn't mean, when I say choosing yourself, it doesn't mean stop caring about other people. I take care of my grandma. Like I said, I have all these different titles and all these different hats that I wear, and I still get that done.
Yeah.
But you still need to make time for yourself. That does not mean you're giving up on everybody, but you need time to reset. And we as women, we're more prone to like autoimmune disorders from stress. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We're more prone to like mental health problems and
Mhm.
things like that, and ending a journey that doesn't need to be ended just yet.
Right.
So putting yourself first, like I don't know how many like times I have to say this, like put yourself first because why struggle? Why suffer? Are you willing to be in that much pain when if you just take and my thing was it took me 2 years to get to where I am. And I still poured into my community. I still poured into my friends, but I wasn't going above and beyond because I needed that energy for myself.
Mhm.
So once you have to create a safe space for yourself. And you have to reassure yourself. I can sit here and tell you a million times, oh, well, don't you get tired? Aren't you tired of crying and embarrassing yourself or feeling this way and draining yourself, spending all your money, whatever have you? It's like, Just know that you could see so many girls like me or see within your peers that like, hey, they're super happy. I know that I can do that. And there's plenty of times during my journey where I reverted back. It's not like I went two
Sure.
years. It's like an addiction. You got to get like a little fix. And it's okay like to still go above and beyond because I still do it. It's not like it's just Kia. Because I believe, again, you have to have a village. Everybody wants to be part of a village, but doesn't want to be a villager. So
Mhm.
you have to like pour into other people too, and then ask for help.
Mhm.
Ask for community. When I was going through this journey, I would ask my friends, like, hey, do you want to go to the gym with me? Do you want to hang out and chit chat? Ask people if they have the mental capacity. And yeah, go see a therapist. Don't see it as taboo because depending on your background, we have been told, like, seeing a therapist and doing that, that's such, you're weak and
Mhm.
you're not. After a while, you'll just keep getting tired. And if
Mhm.
you keep getting tired, I don't know what other factors. Some people are out here being moms. I'm not a mother yet.
Mhm.
I'm not a parent yet. I'm not a guardian yet.
Mhm.
But it's just like it depends on your workload, and you have to pour in to yourself in order for your other things to get done. So it's just like after a while, aren't you tired? Like, why aren't you doing stuff for yourself? You see me over here happy. Now, I can't give you the happiness. I can tell you up and down, just like I said, the key to happiness is blase, blase, but you still have to go and do the work. That does not mean you're leaving people behind. If
Mhm.
anything, it's going to make you a better friend, wife, companion, whatever have you. If you just wake up and say, I'm tired of being tired.
Mhm.
And that's it. Do you want to keep struggling? Because it doesn't get easier. If you keep adding to the pile and adding to the pile, finally that pile's going to break down, but at what cost? It can cost you your life, it can cost you your sanity. So I'd rather not find that out. That's just me.
Mhm.
I'd rather just go cold turkey. It is an addiction to be,
Yeah.
an empath. It is an addiction. And I've seen it. I've seen it break down a lot of people, not just women, men too.
Mhm.
Other people too, other humans. It just breaks you down and it doesn't have to end up that way. So whether it takes you 2 years or 10 years, at least you're putting small work
Mhm.
into it. And aren't you tired of being tired?
Mhm.
You know?
Mhm. And so the work is self-awareness and creating some sort of safe space for yourself.
Yeah, and setting a boundary, setting
Mhm.
rules for yourself.
Mhm.
You got one of those friends that give like the best advice. I believe that the friends that have the best advice for you and they're always coming, like the comedian, you have a comedian friend, a really good advice friend or whatever, but I feel like they're the ones that are pouring out the most energy,
Yeah.
you know? So it's just like create a rule for yourself. If you're out there creating rules for men that you're dating, women that you're dating, people that you're dating, if you're creating rules for like your parents, because some people are no contact, on contact with their families and stuff like that. If you're capable of doing that for other people, why can't you do it for yourself? It starts with you.
Mhm.
So I create a boundary every single day, even rewarding myself to getting certain chores done. I'm like, all right, if we do our laundry today, we can, have a sweet treat or something. Create those rules with your self-care. And self-care looks different for everybody. Self-care for me is like getting all dolled up, going to the gym, having those privileges, going to Pilates or yoga, something like that. But, self-care could be like extra sleep
Yeah.
and learn how to say no.
Yeah.
Shoot, say no. It's okay.
Mhm.
No is a closed sentence. That's it.
Mhm.
But set a boundary like with yourself and be like, I'm not going to allow people to treat me like this, or I'm not going to overexert myself. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to say, hey, I'm available on such and such dates. It looks different for everybody, but make a boundary.
Mhm. Well, I am so grateful to you sharing because this is really meaningful for anyone who knows you and has heard coming from you, where you do pour so much into your community and create community events and opportunities for wellness for people. And so for you to say, that's a beautiful thing, and yes, we should be doing that, but you should put yourself first is
Hmm.
really powerful, and I think can can be a needed message for many listeners that it is good, it is right, it is okay to put yourself first and to get what you need so that you can shine as bright as possible for
Right.
others and sustainably. So is there anything for people who are like, wow, I really like what you're saying, how can they stay in touch with you and keep up with what you're doing?
I run Girls Running Shit, which is girls running shit, just like how it sounds. Every quarter, I put on wellness workshops, whether you like to move your body for like yoga or Pilates, there is grounding sessions that we do have. So if you want to follow me on there or follow my personal page, which is Miss Kia, I'm putting all the words of affirmation. If you want to be uplifted, follow my main page. I'm just encouraging people just to go and live life and do what you want to do that makes you happy. Like be comfortable. So we're just here to uplift and create a community so people can find people, like-minded people like themselves. So yeah.
Great. We'll include all those links. And thank you again so much, Markia. Appreciate you. Have
Thank
a
you. I
wonderful rest of
appreciate it.
the day.